Good morning, everyone, and welcome into yet another episode of Wake and Take. I'm Jason. I'm your host, and I'm ready to talk about football. Today, we're going to build a tier list for running backs coming up for the 2023 football season. We did quarterbacks yesterday, doing running backs today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into it. All right, and before we get right on into it, before we do the tier list, just a quick running back news to talk about. Austin Ekeler is officially staying with the Chargers. It came out last night / this morning. He is given an extra $2 million in possible incentives to earn in order to stay with the Chargers. And I just think that is a decent way to deal with it. If you'll remember, when I saw that he was kind of going for more money with the Chargers, requested a trade, was a little upset about it, knowing that what the market is for the running back. Austin Ekeler, if he was to go to a new team, wasn't going to make too much more money. It just wasn't going to happen. As much as he deserves it, running backs just don't get paid the way he wanted to get paid. So I just told him to, stay with the Chargers. It's a team that treats you well and gives you plenty of volume. Be the superstar that you want to be. And it looks like that's what he's doing. And he is getting the extra money that he would have gotten in a trade, just in the form of an incentive. So it works for both sides. It works for both sides. Good for them. But hey, let's do this tier list. So let me go ahead and share my screen, get everything set up, and then let's do it. Okay. So yesterday, I got some critiques, I got some feedback. I went a little too fast, which I get. So we're going to go a little slower today. And running back is going to be a little bit more difficult in general, I feel like, which kind of, quarterback, I felt like it was easy to breeze through. There is a couple running backs missing from this tier list. We'll discuss that as we get there. And I'm also probably going to skip some, but we're just, instead of searching out names like I did yesterday, we're just going to go one by one and see. So Aaron Jones, not an S tier. I'll tell you that much. I think we're going to have a lot of changing for sure around on this. We'll probably be moving around, but Aaron Jones, I'm going to start him out in the A tier with AJ Dillon in the B tier. Aaron Jones, just gets a little bit more volume than A.J. Dillon, gets a little bit more of the passing work. If Aaron Jones goes down, of course, A.J. Dillon becomes more valuable, but I can't in good conscience put them in the same tier, nor even two tiers apart. So I like them both, and I do think that the Packers running backs this season could actually end up being pretty decently fantasy relevant, just because they might have to rely on the run game a little bit more than they have been in the past. Cam Akers, I do think is in a really good situation. So for now, I might throw him in that A tier just because I think he's going to get tons of volume, and they didn't really add much competition for him that's truly going to take any volume away from him. And the Rams are still a good running scheme, and he did, especially in the second half of the season, come to life. And if he can, recapture that, then I think the A tier makes the most sense for him. And this is where I've probably got to kind of decide here is Breece Hall. Do I want to have a stacked S tier or a stacked A tier? And I don't know. I don't know if there's any. They call me crazy, but I don't know if there's any true S tier running backs. I feel like everyone's actually got some form of question mark coming into the year. So I think I'm going to crowd this S tier a little bit because that is the top tier, but I just don't think it's like as much of an S as some of the other positions might be. Like the clear cutoff between Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson or Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the quarterbacks isn't quite as present in the running back position. So I'm going to put Breece Hall in the S tier for now. Obviously, he showed amazing flashes before he got injured, and he's still one of the most athletic running backs out there. And, Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback that dumps it off to running back. So I think if he can come back healthy, he will see tons of volume and be incredibly productive. I do have high hopes for Breece Hall this year. So I'm going to slide him into that S tier. And we'll see, that might be bad, but I think that that's pretty fair. I love me some Breece Hall. What up, Jamie? Welcome into the show. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that's an easy D tier. Chase Edmonds, that's also probably a D tier. Nick Chubb, I'll throw into the A tier, probably above Aaron Jones. I don't see him as an S tier running back. Unfortunately, I know all the case for him and everything, but I don't necessarily believe that he's going to have a better year this year than he did last year. He scored, I believe, like 12 touchdowns, which is a decent bit. And that's, hard to do more than once, especially since I do believe the Browns will be passing the ball a bit more next season. That means they'll be running less. And it could just mean a little bit less work for Nick Chubb, which is fine. I still think he'll be really good, just not quite anything to throw him into that S tier. Christian McCaffrey, of course, that's an S tier. And, you could make the argument that he probably deserves to be in the S tier all by himself, the way things are going with maybe Bijan sliding in there too. But I don't know. I'm not quite as high on Christian McCaffrey as a lot of other people. Just because, he still does have the concerns that we've all been worried about with him. He still has the injury concerns, even if he did play the full season for the 49ers and Panthers, not really get injured or anything. Still, the concerns are there, and it could happen again. So I'm not just necessarily going to lock him in as the true RB1 all by himself. I do think that there are other running backs that you could pass on him for and get decent and similar production. James Conner is a lot like A.J. Dillon. I'll throw him above just because he's the true starter for the Cardinals. And yeah, I don't know. If the Cardinals offense was good again, I think I could probably make a case to put him in the A tier. I do think James Conner is a player that's slept on a lot because he will still get a bunch of volume, but he has the injury concerns. The offense is going to suck, all of that stuff, to where I'm just going to have to throw him into the B tier. But, he's definitely still going to have a few games, and he's going to get tons of volume. So James Conner, definitely a sleeper and a guy you can target in drafts and get some good value for sure. Cordarrelle Patterson, sadly, going to have to put in the D tier. It's unclear what his role is going to be anymore. I do love Cordarrelle Patterson, which makes me want to put him in the C tier, but I think I'll just put him in the C tier for now. C for Cordarrelle. We'll probably move him around later just because, but again, I don't know what kind of role he's going to have. Obviously, they brought in Bijan Robinson. Obviously, Tyler Algier had a great year last year. So he's probably RB3. He might be more of a gadget guy who comes in and gets a certain amount of targets and maybe carries. And he is explosive. He really, really is. So I do think, the potential is there. It's just, hard to actually be firm in it. Really, whatever the word is, it doesn't matter. Convicted is what I was looking for. Not super convicted in Cordarrelle, but I like him enough to where I just don't feel good putting him in the D tier. But that's probably where he belongs. So I'll preface it with that. Dalvin Cook, you've got to put in the A tier, even with everything going on. I'll put him in the back of the A tier for now, just because he is still Dalvin Cook. We could maybe have an argument for him to be the top of the B, but I think bottom of the A tier probably for right now. Just because, if he does stay with the Vikings, he's, of course, still going to be very fantasy relevant. And if he's traded, the team that he's traded to likely still believes in him and is going to give him a good amount of volume. And yeah, he did fall off a little bit last year. His efficiency metrics did go down, but he still showed some flashes and hasn't quite declined too much yet, to where I do think that, at least for redraft purposes, he could definitely still have a really good year. For fantasy football, averaging like 15 points a game or something like that. So maybe, top of the B tier, but I think bottom of the A tier for now. And we'll kind of see as the day goes on. Damian Harris, I want to throw in the B tier for now. Actually, probably C tier. Yeah, so Cordarrelle doesn't really belong there. Sorry, Cordarrelle, you're going to the top of the D tier. Damian Harris, I'll throw in the C tier. I think a lot of people are out there saying that he's got to have a ton of volume, really, for the Bills, that he's going to almost have a 50-50 workload with James Cook. I don't see that happening. He was not even paid $2 million on the 1-year contract. I think if the contract was a little heftier / a little longer, we might be seeing him see tons of volume. But, I think he's just going to kind of come in and spell Josh Allen, spell James Cook, maybe get some short yardage, goal line work. But I don't think he's going to get a ton of carries. I really do think that James Cook is going to be the main man in this offense. And if anything, Damian Harris hurts Josh Allen's rushing upside more than James Cook's. And at the very least, you're not ever really going to feel comfortable starting Damian Harris unless an injury happens. So we'll see. I got a good comment here. How is Chase Edmonds in the D tier and Cordarrelle Patterson in the C tier? I ended up putting him back down. But yeah, I couldn't in good conscience keep him in that C tier. I love Cordarrelle. I really, really do. He's one of my guys. He really is. We'll see what happens with Edmonds. I was just out on him last year, so I just feel like I've got to continue to be out on him. S tier, Austin Eckler. Of course, maybe the S tier is a little bit more. I don't know. Those of you watching on YouTube, let me know if I've been egregious so far, but I do think this S tier is going to get a little bit more crowded, but it might not be too bad to have a crowded S tier. That's just kind of how the game is. We've got a crowded S tier, but Austin Eckler, obviously S tier, the absolute machine. In fact, I might rank him ahead of Christian McCaffrey personally. No, they're basically the same. I just like Austin Eckler a lot. Again, though, still has those injury concerns. It's been a couple years since we've really seen them, but definitely earlier in his career, he had those concerns. But, he just gets the incentives. The Chargers don't bring in anyone. He's still going to be used plenty, albeit he probably is used a little less in the passing game. He was relied on so much because of all the injuries that came to the wide receiver core. So we could see a little less passing volume, but we should still see a ton of volume from Austin Eckler to where he's definitely not falling out of the S tier. He's amazing. So, yeah, I'm going to keep him there. Elijah Mitchell, C tier. Top of the C tier. I'll throw him ahead of Damian Harris, I think. But, yeah, I think C tier is probably fine. This is what it's starting to look like is the backups that probably need an injury to happen to be totally relevant, but will still have some good games. And that's Elijah Mitchell. He's definitely, unfortunately, going to be touchdown dependent, but he still has the skills to break off some huge runs. And he's still going to get 10 carries or so on the 49ers offense. So you can't really complain about it too much. It's just Christian McCaffrey does definitely get the lion's share. Deebo Samuel gets some runs, and it's just you're going to have to rely on touchdowns with Mitchell. It's where you're never really going to feel comfortable starting him. AJ Dillon, I'm almost wanting to move out of the B tier, but we'll see. We'll see as we keep going. Travis Etienne, I'm throwing into the A tier. Yeah, probably right behind Nick Chubb. Maybe ahead. I'll throw him ahead of Nick Chubb. I'll throw Travis Etienne ahead of Nick Chubb, but this A tier, I think, looks really solid. Travis Etienne, I'm expecting big things from, as we are with the whole Jaguars offense, right? Yeah, let's see. So Travis Etienne, A tier. Leonard Fournette, I'm just going to put in the B tier. I am, because kind of like Dalvin Cook, I still do think that while Leonard Fournette has lost a massive step, I do think if a team signs him, they will believe in him and give him a decent amount of work to where he could find himself be fantasy relevant. Not a high ceiling, mind you, but a guy that can get you 10 points a game around there is totally reasonable. So probably bottom of the B tier, top of the C tier kind of guy. But for right now, we'll throw him at the back of the B tier. Antonio Gibson, I'm going to get fired for this, but at the top of the B tier for now. I do think he has the potential to reach that A tier, but I think you're counting on too much for that to happen. And right now you have to be reasonable and realistic with Antonio Gibson, and still B tier is not bad. In fact, the top of the B tier, I do love his profile, and I do love the potential for what's going to happen with him on this Commanders offense with Eric Bieniemy using him in special ways. But for now, just because also the Commanders offense might not be that great to where, yeah, he could be used a ton, but not score a ton of fantasy points. Top of the B tier for right now. So yeah, Derrick Henry, S tier, of course. It's Derrick Henry. This is probably a hot take here, but I don't understand how people can have Derrick Henry so far behind Christian McCaffrey. Derrick Henry is fantastic and has all the same concerns that a Christian McCaffrey has or an Austin Eckler has. They've got these injury concerns. They're older running backs that have been in the league for a long time that have seen tons of volume. But when they play, they're massive. They've got a great ceiling and all that stuff. So Derrick Henry is still the king as long as I'm here. Because it's Derrick Henry. I don't understand the fading for him. I don't understand Christian McCaffrey going 101 and Derrick Henry going in like the third round in a lot of drafts. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me at all. So Derrick Henry, S tier. Kareem Hunt, C tier. We don't really know what's going to happen with him. Seems like teams don't even really want to take a chance on him. Okay, I can't put Kareem Hunt in the C tier if I put Fournette in the B tier. So we're moving Fournette down. I'm gonna put Fournette in the C tier here. But yeah, Kareem Hunt, C tier as well. I don't think he's going to get that big of a role. He's a good running back, of course, but at this point, he probably would have been signed if someone really, really wanted him. So we're just going to have to see. And if he ends up on the Browns, that he's not going to be that great. Yeah, Kareem Hunt. Javonte Williams, definitely a B tier here. And could conceivably be the A tier. But let's just put him in the A tier. Screw it. Javonte Williams in the A tier. Great profile. All the metrics that you want from a guy if he does return from injury soon enough, which it's starting to look like he will. I don't know. I mean, coach speak is coach speak at the end of the day. But yeah, I think I am going to move Dalvin Cook down. I think I've got to legally. Top of the B tier for Dalvin Cook. Javonte, A tier. Dalvin makes sense. And I don't know. This is tough. Kind of the closeness with a lot of these guys is tough. But anyway, Javonte Williams, I'm throwing in the A tier. I do think when he comes out, he's going to be totally fine. I really do. Josh Jacobs, A tier as well. Kind of same thing. I mean, it's he's a running back that only runs the ball for the most part. But well, actually, no. Last year he was used receiving a decent bit too. So yeah, Josh Jacobs staying in the A tier. Obviously, one of the best running backs in fantasy last year. So I mean, you could make the case that he has to go in the S tier, but I'm just not doing that. It could just be a one-off year. And I am worried about his longevity. You know, a lot of times running backs, when they get that kind of workload, have struggle the next year with a similar workload. So I'll put him in the A tier for now. Jonathan Taylor, you've got to put in the S tier. I am a little concerned about him this year, and I did make him a sell candidate on Trade Gods, but it is definitely bad advice to take him out of the S tier. He's fantastic. He really is. Great running back and everything. I just do think he's probably at the top of his market, but I don't necessarily think that the floor will go out from under him either. Yeah. Let's see. Alvin Kamara. I think we've got to put in the B tier, actually. I'm not going to fade Alvin Kamara completely like everyone has. If he gets suspended, it's going to be like 6 games. Deshaun Watson didn't get that big of a suspension for far worse crimes. The video that came out of Alvin Kamara really isn't even that bad. It's his friends that are doing most of the damage. He's just kind of there. I think he gave like 1 kick and maybe not even that strong of a punch. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he's definitely going to get some form of suspension, it's looking like, but I just don't imagine it's going to be that long. And then when he comes back, he's going to be great. It's Alvin Kamara, and he's going to get tons of pass work and all that fun stuff. So you've got to keep him in the B tier and perhaps even the A tier. But it's just, I'll be good for now and maybe expect some form of suspension and everything to where that'll keep him out of the A tier. But B tier, I think, is totally fine for him. Melvin Gordon will throw in the D tier. I think that's Michael Carter. We'll throw in the D tier. For some reason, I believe this is Mike Davis. We'll throw in the D tier. Miles Sanders, we've got to throw in the B tier, at the back of the B tier, I think. He's going to be basically the main running back on the Panthers offense. It's just, they're not going to be that good of an offense probably. And he's definitely not going to be as good as he was on the Eagles, plain and simple. So B tier, you can maybe make a case for something lower, but I think B tier is a good cutoff for him. Joe Mixon, you've got to keep in the A tier. I mean, he's going to be playing football this year. It's looking like all of this stuff moves slow when it comes to suspensions, as we're seeing with Alvin Kamara. It took at least a year. So Joe Mixon's playing this year, and you've got to put him in the A tier. In fact, I'll probably throw him ahead of Cam Akers, ahead of Aaron Jones, ahead of Nick Chubb. Yeah, I mean, I'll throw him high. It's Joe Mixon, man. He's fantastic when he's out on the field and he's attached to the fantastic Bengals offense. David Montgomery, that's a B tier if I've seen one. Again, this is kind of just where we're throwing the guys that are sort of in backfield situations, maybe a good offense. Attached to a good Lions offense, probably going to get some goal line work and the between the tackle stuff and plenty of volume. So B tier for David Montgomery. Najee Harris, I think I'll put at the top of the A tier. I honestly want to put him in the S tier, but I just don't think we're quite there yet. But if we are, then that means Travis Etienne and Joe Mixon are probably also there. But I'll put Najee Harris at the very, very top of the A tier. I am expecting huge things for him next season, and really the Steelers in general. A tier for Najee Harris. Plenty of passing work, plenty of rushing work. Jaylen Warren, I see actually getting less work this year. I think a lot of it was the Liz Frank that let him come in. So, yeah, A tier for him. I think Nyheim Hines, I want to throw in the C tier. But, yeah, I'll throw in the C tier, which maybe I should put. No, I'll put him in the D tier. I'll put him near the top of the D tier. Because, his role, it doesn't seem like he'll have anything, actually. So, yeah, he's probably just a D tier. He's more like the Cordero Patterson, where he could come in and maybe get a touchdown, do something special on special teams. But for now, D tier for Nyheim Hines. Rashad Penny, I feel like you've just got to throw him in the B tier, to be honest. I mean, he's I don't think he's quite as bad as these C tier guys. And I mean, bottom of the A or the B tier seems pretty good. He's attached to the Eagles offense. And if he can stay healthy, I mean, he is fantastic. He really, really is. All of his metrics were great. It's just he has the health concerns. And, in a committee, those should kind of be able to be mitigated a decent bit to where, he will probably get some touchdowns. He will probably have a few 10-point games and all that stuff. So I'm going to put him in the B tier. Dameon Pierce, B tier as well. We can probably throw him ahead a couple of these guys. Yeah, right here. Right here feels good. Kind of same thing. I mean, I do think Devin Singletary will eat into his workload a decent bit. I really do. But still, he's a really good running back. All of that fun stuff. Tony Pollard, A tier near the top. Not putting him into S tier yet. Sorry, guys. I'll put him probably right behind Joe Mixon. Ahead of Nick Chubb, I think makes sense. Yes, the Cowboys didn't really add anyone to take too much away from Tony Pollard, but still he's coming off an injury. And Deuce Vaughn could end up making a role. Not that that really keeps him too much, but I just don't think it's enough to put him into the S tier. And I do think that these guys kind of at the top of the A tier, right about where he should be ranked. So Tony Pollard up there. Ramondre, I think same thing. I'll probably put him like right behind Najee probably. A tier for Ramondre Stevenson. Going to get tons of pass work. No one really added again in the Patriots backfield to take anything too much away from him. Should have another great season. Saquon Barkley. S tier, of course, it's Saquon Barkley. Just has to stay healthy. Devin Singletary, I feel like if we're putting Pierce in the B tier, we've got to put Singletary in the C tier. Okay, I think we're going to move some things around. Rashad Penny, we're going to throw into the C tier. And yeah, David Montgomery, we've probably got to throw into the C tier as well. Unfortunately, top of the C tier, though, because I think we're going to work some stuff out. DeAndre Swift, we're putting into the B tier for now. Kareem Hunt, probably just move down then. Yeah, move Kareem Hunt down. Okay, this looks a little better. But DeAndre Swift, great athleticism, Eagles and everything, all that fun stuff. Ezekiel Elliott, if we're putting Leonard Fournette in the C tier, then that's definitely where Ezekiel Elliott belongs. Should still get some work when signed. We'll just have to see. Darrell Henderson, geez, D tier. Jeff Wilson, probably C tier for now. We'll see. Maybe top of D tier. I don't know where he's going to stand between, so I'll just kind of put him in the C tier. I think all of these Miami Dolphins running backs are kind of going to be mixed up. James Robinson, probably C tier, maybe top of the D tier. We'll put him in C tier with these all guys, just these guys. But I do think James Robinson's going to score some touchdowns for the Patriots next season, plain and simple. Jamal Williams, woo. Probably C tier with these guys, kind of up here. I think that makes sense. Again, should get tons of touchdowns and everything, but the sky isn't necessarily the limit when it comes to Jamal Williams, and we probably already saw the sky be the limit. I believe this is Kenyon Drake, D tier, I guess. Kenneth Gainwell. C tier with Penny. I think that makes sense. Khalil Herbert, probably also some C tier action. This Bears backfield is going to be rough. So we're just going to probably put them all really in the C tier for now. This is Raheem Mostert. If we're putting Jeff Wilson in C tier, I would like to put him above of Jeff Wilson, but I do think that they're probably right here. And Jahmyr Gibbs is that B tier. Kenneth Walker, got to put him in the A tier, man. Got to put him in the A tier. The back of the A tier for now. Maybe we can put him at the top of the B tier with the concerns, but I think I'm just going to put him in the back of the A tier just because he is such a good running back. So Kenneth Walker, still a dog. Rex Burkhead, D tier, of course. Mark Ingram, D tier. I believe that's J.D. McKissick, D tier. J.K. Dobbins, top of the B tier, probably. Top of the B tier. I think this is kind of a good cutoff. Not quite as talented as Kenneth Walker, but, no, we'll put him in the A tier. Oh, God, this is tough. I feel like I want like one more tier. But yeah, J.K. Dobbins, I'll put in the A tier. I'm expecting big things from him. I am. And I think he'll finally be back to health. Yeah, and we can put McKissick in the B tier, maybe top of C tier. I do think he's going to get, we'll put him near the top of the C tier, probably right ahead of Jamal Williams, behind David Montgomery. Rachaad White, that's an A tier running back for sure. Expecting, of course, big things from him. Nothing really added in terms of backfield competition. The Buccaneers, should dump it off to him plenty. Probably right behind Cam Akers, ahead of Javonte and all these guys. God, who's this guy? Is that Craig Reynolds? Maybe D tier. Tyler Algier. If we're putting Cordero Patterson in the D tier, we'll put Algier in the C tier. Mike Boone. I love his athletic profile, but he's unfortunately a D tier. I want to say this is Caleb Huntley, D tier. Brian Robinson. Where do we put Gibson? B tier. So we'll put, I kind of just want to put Gibson at the back of the B tier with Antonio Gibson, which is probably a bad process. So actually, top of the C tier for Brian Robinson. He's totally fine. Alexander Madison, we'll put him in the back of the B tier for now, just because he could end up being the starter for the Vikings. It just matters what happens with Dalvin Cook. Yeah. I don't know why some of these guys are on here. Joshua Kelly. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to put Joshua Kelly in the C tier. He's a premier handcuff, And if things were to happen to Austin Eckler, he's going to be fantastic. So, yeah, Joshua Kelly, I'll throw in that C tier. I think that's Eno Benjamin. We'll put him in the D tier. I think that's Latavius Murray. We'll throw him in that D tier. Jaylen Warren. This is another premier handcuff. It looks like that's what we're turning this C tier into. So this honestly wants to make me move Brian Robinson up just to do that. Yeah, God, I probably just need to take some of these guys out of the D tier and move some people down. Anyway, Samaje Perine, C tier as well. Maybe further up the C tier a little bit. Probably a little bit further up. Probably right behind these Dolphins guys. Samaje Perine should get plenty of work for the Broncos if Javonte Williams doesn't come back. All of this stuff. All of the stuff that we already know about most of these players. I want to say that's Tevin Coleman. I really do, but that might not be. Doesn't matter. D tier. This is Sony Michel. Oh, my God. Isaiah Pacheco, probably top of the B tier, to be honest. Maybe we'll put him in the A tier. I love Pacheco. Screw it. Isaiah Pacheco in the A tier. He's a dog. Fantastic. Chuba Hubbard. If we're putting, we put Miles Sanders in the B tier. I think we could put probably Chuba Hubbard at the C tier range, maybe back of the B tier. I don't know how this Panthers backfield is going to shake out. I do probably see Miles Sanders being the main guy, with Chuba Hubbard coming in every once in a while. So I'll put him in a tier down. I'll put Chuba Hubbard in that C tier. Deontay Foreman. If we put Khalil Herbert in here, we've probably got to put Deontay Foreman a tier down. I do think Khalil Herbert is better, so we'll throw Foreman in the D tier. Gus Edwards. Oh, man, I mean, hey, that's a good handcuff, but probably near the top of the D tier. Oh, God, what was this guy? Is this Kyron Williams? I don't think that's right. No, it doesn't matter. D tier. Rams third or second string running back, that's a D tier. Boston Scott, D tier. Deion Jackson, D tier. Dontrell Hilliard, D tier. Christian McCaffrey, again. Double Christian McCaffrey, S tier. Okay. Michael Carter? I think, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, D tier, Jets running back, D tier. JaMychal Hasty, D tier. D tier. James Cook. This is a fun one. Let's do, I think, top of the B tier. Probably top of the B tier for James Cook. Don't think he's quite A tier because Damian Harris will probably take something from him. It is unclear what, but I will put him in the B tier at the top. I do think he's going to be fantastic, get plenty of passing work, all of that good stuff. I do love James Cook next season. This is Gainwell, so I don't know what Eagles player I put in there. Oh, no, I already put – all right, so double Gainwell in the C tier. DJ Dallas, D tier. D tier. D tier. Hassan Haskins, D tier. All right, Bijan Robinson, S tier. S tier for Bijan Robinson. Love the guy. Absolutely love the guy. Gonna be great. 3,000 yards incoming for Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs rounding this list out. I'm not throwing into the S tier, and I'm gonna put him in the A tier right here. Right here. I would probably take Jahmyr Gibbs before Nick Chubb and before Aaron Jones. But after probably all of these guys, maybe not Joe Mixon based on his ADP falling a little bit, but I do think he'll probably end up having a better season. Jahmyr Gibbs, A tier, right there. I'm just going to scroll up or maybe zoom out a tiny bit, see if we can get this guy in all its glory. So you guys can see and give your final critiques. There we go. Screw the D tier. Let's zoom in on just the S through C. All right. Check that out, everyone. That's the tier list. This way. Check it out. Yeah. Nice. Do we have any questions? I'm going to stop sharing. Put my overlays back to normal. Any questions from the audience? Let me look through this chat. It looks like we've had some takes. Ford won't be the lead back, but will Joshua Kelly? I do think that if, something happens to Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly will definitely see a ton of volume. Definitely. Yeah. He honestly has a decent profile too. It's like 80th percentile, everything really. Joshua Kelly really is not that bad Where's Miles Sanders? I believe I put him in that C tier. Let me double check. Yeah, B tier, actually. I put him in the B tier. That's surprising for me. We'll see. We'll see. I'll put him in the B tier, though, for now, I guess, since that's where I put him. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have had just the people that I didn't want to put on the list. I probably just shouldn't have even put them in the tier list. But I did. But I did. Yeah, I did need more tiers. This was Underdog actually made this tier list, so shout out to them. I just used theirs, saved me some time. But this is, so, the S tier, just one more time: Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, and Bijan Robinson is my S tier of running backs. I think that is extremely fair. I hope I helped you guys. And yeah, this was fun. Tomorrow we'll do the wide receivers. And I believe the list is kind of like today's, where there's some players that probably don't even need to be on the list. So now that I've learned the lesson about just not putting them on there, just won't probably put them on there tomorrow. But either way, hope to see you all tomorrow. You have a fantastic, and I mean fantastic, Tuesday. Thanks for watching.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.